Well, today was a day. The Philadelphia Eagles won and are undefeated at this point. The first win of the season, 25-20 against the New England Patriots. I want to go over this whole entire game because I feel like there's a lot of Eagles fans that are saying a win is a win. They feel good at just winning the game in general. And there are some that pretty much say, what the hell did I just watch? This was the most embarrassing a win that feels like a loss in a lot of different ways. I'm going to go over the whole entire game. I'm going to be probably all over the place because there's definitely a lot to say about this game while it's very fresh in my mind. And, we have a short week this week. So let's get straight into it.
We better turn. Because I've seen enough horror movies to know any weirdo wearing a mask is never friendly.
What is going on, guys? I hope everyone's having a fantastic day. So the Eagles win against New England Patriots 25-20, and a game I wasn't expecting to. I didn't expect a lot of things in this game. The Eagles were up 16-0 in this game, and I thought that, not that it was going to be a cakewalk, but I figured, we might score a lot more touchdowns in this game with the bad weather as it was persisting and ended up stopping later on. But really, before the game even started, Rashad Penny was a healthy scratch. They kind of sat him for this game. I don't know why they did it. I figured, because it's bad weather, you want to keep as many backs as possible in this game, and they decided to sit him and Tyler and Albert O as well with the tight ends. So because they kept 4 tight ends this year, and so they sat 2 guys. So I figured those 2 moves of them not playing in this game was because they were bringing up Aaron Sipos and they were bringing up Britton Covey to the active roster for special teams, which, I didn't really agree with Rashad Penny not playing today, but the way that kind of the game even started with the bad weather as it was persisting, even in the beginning of the game, and it was pretty bad. Eagles went down pretty easily with Kenneth Gainwell getting a majority of the reps. I think he had 14. He had 14 carries for the day out of all the running backs. They barely used Boston Scott today. Had a first down for Quez Watkins, and then kind of had a little bit of a score there at the end. I know Judon had the sack, and I don't even recall that he beat Lane Johnson. I know he was on his side, but I think Lane Johnson blocked the wrong guy, and he was just not accounted for because I think Lane Johnson blocked on the inside, and Judon had pretty much a free sprint on the outside to get to Jalen Hurts. And then you had, obviously, the second series, especially going on defense for the first time, where, Jordan Davis had the forced fumble with Zach Cunningham getting the fumble recovery, which led to a Devontae Smith touchdown on the right side of the end zone, which was great. So the Eagles were up 16-0, not a care in the world. We were feeling really good. But as the weather was changing, it felt like the Eagles were they weren't making any adjustments offensively. It looked bold. It looked vanilla. It was either a Jalen Hurts run. It was either a handoff up the middle or a 3-yard pass to a receiver. There really wasn't much to this offense. I don't know why the Eagles didn't change. Brian Johnson really made me nervous. I don't know what the hell he was doing this whole entire game because, I didn't expect the Patriots to come back. But if we were playing like that, it was interesting. Mac Jones started slinging the ball really well. We couldn't develop a pass rush at all because our cornerbacks were still playing off the ball, 5 to 10, 10 yards. I don't get what happened during training camp because they had these corners, I'm not saying you got to play press every single time, but Slay is not a zone cornerback, okay? And I felt like they were using him in a lot of crappy ways in this game. And like I said, the defensive line and these cornerbacks in coverage comes hand in hand. You get good coverage, you could value more of that pass rush for a longer period of time. If you have no coverage and this defensive line starts in a pass rush, Mac Jones was getting the ball out literally 0.2 seconds every single time. Hence why the Eagles only had 2 sacks, which really came at the end of the game where Jordan Davis, Josh Sweat, I think shared a sack, like a half a sack together. And obviously Jalen Carter had a big sack at the end of the game with 6 pressures on the day. 32 snaps for Jalen Carter. Had a fantastic day today. Milt Williams had a great day as well. So I thought the special teams was pretty good. Besides Covey having maybe one good return from the end zone to the 30, 35, something like that. Sippo sack kicked like 250-yarders pretty well. I was really shocked, to be honest with you. I thought Aaron Sippos, I thought somebody else was, maybe we got another punter we didn't know about. Maybe he was dressed in Sippos's jersey, but it was him. Besides the one that he thought it was going to get blocked, he had to reset himself and punt it again, but obviously that's against the rules. You can't do that. So this defense carried this offense. Okay. I thought the offense got more of a little bit of a tiny rhythm in the second half, but it really wasn't much. But the Patriots came back. The Patriots came back on a lot of occasions. Mac Jones was great. I have to give the props to the Patriots when it came to their defensive line, because they really gave it to us. And Mac Jones, on his first touchdown, he had 7 straight receptions to 7 different players. On the second touchdown he had 8 receptions. Literally gave, through 8 passes to complete it, and scored. And then really at the end of the game, when they were coming back, 75 yards in under 2 minutes is absolutely ridiculous. But at the same time, our offense going into even the first half, it was 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out. It was almost 4 to 5 3 and outs. You tired out your defense, and your defense was totally gassed the rest of the game. Once your defense is gassed, then you're in a danger zone, because I don't care if you go through halftime. I don't care if they rest on the field for a little bit. If they're not getting any rest, it doesn't matter. They're gonna be gassed the whole entire game. It's gonna be really hard to generate that pass rush ever again. So the offense, I don't know what Brian Johnson was doing. Nick Sirianni had a lot to say after this game, and talked about we may have to change the way we do the offseason program. And some of these guys haven't played since the Super Bowl. Some of the older guys haven't played all preseason. They played nothing. Joint practices here and there, but how much do joint practices really affect this team? I think going into this game with the rain, and they were kind of thrown off a little bit, I feel like they didn't really want to expand too much with this offense, and they just didn't adjust when the rain did stop in a lot of ways. I'm not trying to say the rain was an excuse, but it definitely changed the Eagles' game plan. You had the pick 6 from Big Play Slade today, which was huge for the Eagles, which was awesome. I couldn't, he did as much as he possibly could, but we barely even blitzed. We had a couple safety blitzes. We really didn't do much. The linebackers couldn't cover those 2 tight ends in Gesicki and Hunter at all. I mean, 6'5" plus tight ends, man. I mean, they were monsters. We got killed by the tight ends. I thought, Nakobe Dean played pretty good as a downhill runner, but he did, his coverage wasn't great today. He did mess up on some coverages today. I think Sidney Brown needs to play more. I feel like Justin Evans is just not doing enough. I feel like when he's going down and when he's playing downhill sometimes, I feel like he's missing tackles. He's not getting the coverages, and, he's too late to the party sometimes. I feel like they need to make some changes there. Now Nakobe Dean is out with a foot injury. Bradbury is out as well with a concussion from what it looks like. So if Bradbury's in concussion protocol now, he will be out Thursday night. And you got to deal with Justin Jefferson. You have to deal with Jordan Addison, another receiver, and this defense cannot play like they did. Okay, the defense played well as a unit, just as in kind of helping out the offense, because without this defense, this could go a different way. Without that pick 6, we don't win this game. Without Jake Elliott's 3 field goals in the second half, we do not win this game. The player of the game is the player of the game, or the group of the game, and the player of the game is going to be this defense for the Philadelphia Eagles and Jake Elliott. Jake Elliott had a doinked 46-yard kick, hit the left field goal post, and it just bounced right in. He had a 56-yarder. He had a 51-yarder. He did really well. I mean, thank God for Jake Elliott. This is why kickers are so important. At least when it comes to our special teams, something got out of it, so that's a good thing. But I am not worried going into this week. I don't think the Eagles, look, you have to give this time. You have to give this a few weeks, and you have 2 new coordinators right now. DeAndre Swift had 1 carry, and that really pisses me off. Because what made it so obvious as the game went on, when the rain did stop, every time Gainwell's in the game, they figured it's going to be a run. Every time Swift is in the game, it's going to be a pass. They have to start running more. And I'm sorry to tell you, when Gainwell gets his opportunity, he mostly does pretty well. And I thought he had to go, from what the opportunities given to him today, I thought he played pretty good. The Gainwell had 54 yards, okay, average 3.9 a carry, so I totally get that. But DeAndre Swift could do so much more for your offense, and he had one rushing attempt. That is it. That is not enough. You don't trade for a guy like that just to sit him the whole entire game like that. You can't do that. It was almost disgusting how many times we didn't see DeAndre Swift. It really pissed me off in a lot of ways. So, hopefully this changes down the line. Hopefully so. But, I mean, if they're going into week 4, week 5, and they're still playing like this, then it's time to panic. As of right now, I am not panicking over this because, this is a week-to-week league. Okay, it doesn't matter how many points you score. It doesn't mean anything. I thought, we're up 16-0. I thought we were going to score 40 or more on this team because that's what it looked like. But as vanilla as this offense was, and it just wasn't enough for me. A.J. Brown didn't really get involved until the second half. Devontae Smith had the touchdown in the first half, but, we're backed up into how many times were we backed up into our end zone and we're running like a screen pass or something, stupid like that. You know what I mean? Even 4th and 2 in the second half. We were in that 4th and 2 play, and, Hurts was just lobbing the ball up to whoever. Dallas Goedert didn't even have a reception. It's a problem. So then I'm trying to figure this out, like, because of the rain, because of the weather, did they somewhat try to, knowing that they have a short week this week, did they want to put too much emphasis? Did it really change their game plan so much? Why didn't they change the offense a little bit? I thought the second half, the offense was getting a little bit of rhythm when they were getting some passes off here or there, but it still looked like they were very robotic. Hurts looked hesitant. Hurts just couldn't see guys wide open, and I don't think Hurts is regressing, so don't even waste your time asking me about that at all. But it was a really tough thing to see. It was a tough thing to watch. Like, this was a nail-biter on the edge of your seat type of game, and I shouldn't even be saying this. So Nick Sirianni says there's no excuse for DeAndre Swift to have no carry. There's no excuse for Dallas Goedert not to get the football. And that really bothers me because now you're saying this after the fact, even after a win, and an ugly one at that. You think you're going to be, you know what I mean? Like Sean Desai just needs more time. Brian Johnson definitely needs more time. I did not expect to see what Brian Johnson gave us, but I feel like there was more to it than this. Like, there's no way that Brian Johnson kept this offense vanilla for this certain reason. Like, they did so much more in training camp. They did a lot at these joint practices. Some of the plays I've seen, like, they were lining up Swift everywhere. They were doing, you know what I mean? But they can't make things obvious either, because really at the end of the day, the Patriots defense was blitzing Jalen Hurts on a lot of third downs. When it was third long, the Eagles just run it. You know what I mean? I think we missed Rashad Penny in this game. Rashad Penny needs to play. I think they should have used all these backs. I mean, Boston Scott only had a couple carries, nothing much there. Quez Watkins only had 2 to 3 receptions in the game. Devontae Smith just they're backed up into the end zone. They run a screen pass with Devontae Smith on 3rd and long. Like, they ran some big cop out plays, and then there are too many. We brought these running backs in so Hurts doesn't have much pressure on him, where he could use these backs to his disposal. Hurts keeps the ball for himself in the second half and he fumbles it. You know what I mean? Like, that cannot happen. We got to be thankful for this defense. And as much as it wasn't the best play from our defense, it saved the game. And Jake Elliott saved the game. That pick six from Big Play Slay saved the game. Okay, it did. Without those things, down the line, I think this is going to change over time. Things just happen. There's a lot of teams that played bad out there, okay? A lot of teams did. When we were facing the Giants backups last year, okay? Remember, we were facing the Giants backups last year. We barely beat them, and everybody was saying, "Oh, you're not going to be you're definitely not going to beat you're not going to beat the Giants in the playoffs. It's not going to happen. You're definitely not going to do it. You barely beat their backups." And look what happened. We destroyed them in the playoffs, okay? A lot of, KC didn't have a great game. KC played horrible. Even with a couple injuries, they still played horrible, okay? And I understand there's certain players to blame for it, but a loss is a loss, a win is a win, and this is going to be, you learn from wins like this going forward. You learn from wins where it really makes you, it creates more of an identity for your team when you look at something like this. I would rather go through something like this, and I understand it's hard to go through a game like this when you're expected to win by a lot of points and you didn't play up to task, okay? Then blowing a team out and, then the team is very cocky about it or conceited about the win or feels like, their shit don't stink or whatever. This game, this is a character building win. Good teams find a way to win football games like this. And I think that's what's really important going forward. Trust me, there was a lot of things I didn't like, but this game doesn't symbolize what our season is going to look like. I have faith in it. Okay, I have faith in it. Now, when Mac Jones was coming down with the pretty much the last drive when we almost had 2.5 minutes left, I was kind of worried, when there was less than 2 minutes left. I was worried. I figured, we were going to lose the game. I just kind of saw it happening. I was like, here we go. The defense is way too tired. And shout out to the defense for doing all they did. Defensive line just can't generate a pass rush when you have your corners off the ball 10 yards. You think you're going to do that against Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison this week? You can't. You can't do that. A lot of late safety blitzes, just a lot of like that really didn't do much of anything. There really wasn't much blitzing. I could probably say like they blitzed on it when they did a screen pass in the second half and they got so many yards. You do not blitz everybody, an all-out blitz on a screen pass, and they get the screen pass out, and there's nobody middle of the field, and it's wide open to run through our side of the field. Thank God they didn't run that for a touchdown. But to not have Dallas Goedert or DeAndre Swift involved, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith involved enough. Look what happened last year. A lot of people were like, didn't really think about Devontae Smith too much last year against the Detroit Lions. Devontae Smith didn't have 1 catch or 1 yard in that Lions game last year. Devontae Smith, and look at the season he had. We had 2 1,000-yard receivers last year. Okay, so people need to chill out. People need to relax. Yeah, I was a little pissed off, and I think part of it was just part of the weather and part of the game plan because of it was a short week going to this week. I'd give it to week 3 or 4. If they're still looking like this in another couple weeks, then I think it's time to panic. But right now I'm not panicking because I saw a lot more during training camp. I saw a lot more during joint practices and how they use players. I just don't understand, and maybe I do in some format like I just said, but I don't understand why they didn't make just slight adjustments, get your corners on these receivers. Get them physical with these guys a little bit because because Mac Jones was getting the ball out so quick. How many times were we this close to getting Mac Jones? Could have sacked him probably another 4 to 5 times, maybe even more, just on that little bit of good coverage, because it's a waste for this defensive line to rush when guys are literally open for the first 5 steps. These receivers and tight ends that's how much open space they have before they actually get covered by the time. You know what I mean? So, and there were times where Jalen Hurts is getting pressured. Guys are wide open. By the time the guys get open, Hurts has to run away from the pressure and he can't throw the ball. So it was really annoying at times. It really was. I don't think this is the team that is going to be playing like this the rest of the season. And I'm a realist with everything. Trust me. If I feel like this is going to be a fail and this is going to be a hectic season, okay, look at the Giants and what happened tonight. I mean, that's horrible. I mean, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised when you don't have any weapons. I sat there and I was like, I guess Brian Johnson doesn't know we have A.J. Brown, and Brian Johnson doesn't know we have Devontae Smith or Dallas Goedert, because holy shit, we totally just did not involve them whatsoever, or DeAndre Swift, which is the best back to our running back core. Gainwell's good, guys, and I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. This running back core is very good, but Gainwell is not the best back on this team. It's just, get it out of your head that it's just not, okay? The challenge, okay, Bill Belichick threw a challenge flag, okay? A.J. Brown caught that ball on the right sideline all the way downfield, and he bobbled it not even a millisecond. I thought it was the biggest bullshit. It shouldn't even have been challenged. The Eagles are doing another play, and the refs stop it. Like, what's going on? So the Patriots or the opposite team doesn't call a timeout. Okay, they don't call a timeout, and he throws the flag after Hurts hiked the ball. And then the refs go in and they stop the play. I think that's the biggest BS penalty, the biggest BS thing I've ever seen. And I hate when refs do that because it's not fair. Like, that's their fault if they don't throw the challenge flag on time. So we should have had that ball like on the 30 or less than that. We were all the way on the other side of the field. The biggest explosive play that would have been, but it was called back, unfortunately. And then they went to A.J. Brown again. So I felt like the rhythm got better in the second half, but it just wasn't enough. And the defense really had to bail this, to bail this offense out. And, the players of the game is Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis, Milton Williams, big play Slay, Jake Elliott. I think the defense as a group, I think they really picked up a lot of the pieces that were falling. They really did, because this offense was it was atrocious. It was. And at times it looked okay. We were on a little bit of a rhythm, and at times it was just really bad. You got to get more backs involved. There's got to be a plan towards this, because I feel like, how do you not get all your backs involved? How do you not get enough to Devontae? You know what I mean? Like, they were doing so much during training camp with Devontae Smith. And like we're seeing full plays from these guys, okay? But part of this thing now, going into the first game of the season, they have got to change up the offseason next year. They have got to play these guys, and they got to do more, because the older vets like Fletcher Cox and some of these, Fletcher Cox had a good game too. Like, the defense definitely had more success than the offense, no doubt. No doubt. Okay. Hence, it's only, we scored 25 points and 9 points were field goals. Jake Elliott missed an extra point, which, I was hoping that wasn't going to haunt us. But it could have haunted us. You know what I mean? I think they tried. I think the Patriots tried on a 2-point conversion and failed that, which Zach Cunningham had a drop pick in the end zone. So I think somewhat of the weather and the game plan kind of changed and kind of threw them off a little bit, because I know for a damn fact what they did this offseason, there is no way that they made it's just too weird for them to make this many changes in game with the weather persisting as it did. And then when it stopped, there was just no change with this offense whatsoever. Missing targets for Jalen Hurts left and right. There was just something really weird about it. They're going to take a good look in the mirror over this whole entire thing. We're going to go into Thursday, and we're going to see a new team on Thursday night. If this keeps going on for another 2 weeks to 2 to 3 weeks, then we can start panicking. But right now, I am not, because I know what this team is made of. I know what Nick Sirianni is going to do to get these guys prepared this week, and it's in our own house this week, and we are 1-0 at the end of the day. We might look back on this 10 weeks down the line and look at this thing and say, man, like, that Patriots game was god-awful. Like, why did we think we were going to play like this the rest of the year? It's a week-to-week. You got to take everything week to week. This is fixable. This isn't impossible not to fix. You could fix this. The offensive line in general, there was some issues, I would say. I mean, they brought good pressure, but we were so generic. They knew what was coming. If Gainwell's in the backfield, they know it's a run, but they made things so obvious that the Patriots pass rush is, when they know what play's coming, they know what's going to happen. You know what I mean? They know what's going to happen when Gainwell's in the backfield or when Swift is on the field. They know it's going to be a pass. They made it so obvious that pass rush definitely got a head start over our offense. The Patriots pass rush got a head start on us because they knew what was going on when certain players were coming into the game for the Eagles offense. Okay. So, there's just more to it, because I just can't believe that this is the way they're going to play. I don't believe it. And in my heart, because trust me, if I felt like we're screwed, I'll tell you if we're screwed. But we're going to look back at this in 10 weeks and we're going to laugh about it and be like, man, imagine, no, remember when we played this way? Holy crap, that was horrible. Like, I'm glad they didn't. I just feel like there's something else more to this game, that it really changed there because of the weather and why they didn't make adjustments and why they sat out Rashad Penny. There's a lot of weird things that's going on about this game and why they did what they did and why they held back so much, held the playbook back and didn't really open up too much with this playbook. And it just looked too robotic. It looked automatic. It just looked, it looked like you're picking the same play every single time. You know what I mean? Like, Jalen Hurts obviously missed wide open guy. Like, I get it. It's all around. Great teams find a way to win. Okay. And this was a team that found a way to win this game and, are going to learn from it. And like I said, this is a character building game that's really these games do a lot more for you in the long run of don't wanting to get into this situation again. So I don't know what they're doing at the linebacker situation going forward, because if Nakobe Dean's out this week, if Bradbury's out this week, then if Bradbury's out this week because of concussion protocol, then I'm guessing Josh Jobe is going to. Josh Jobe made a couple good plays in this game. He had that big hit that Fletcher Cox had to take him off the sideline and say, dude, don't taunt over the guy. That's not right. You're going to get us a penalty, So he literally grabbed him from the sideline and brought him to the side, grabbed him from the sideline and brought him on, kind of pushed him the other way, and had that stop. The last pass from Mac Jones, that sideline catch where one of the feet to the Patriots wide receiver was out of bounds, and Josh Jobe was on coverage with a nice push there, so both his feet wouldn't get in bounds. So, I think there's a lot to take from this. There's some healthy things to take from this, and there is some negative things that happen. Of course, you're going to have negatives like this team didn't play perfect. This team looked like it hasn't played since last year. That's what I got out of it. The offensive line in general too. I think Cam Jurgens got pushed around a little bit. I thought Cam Jurgens had a little bit of trouble. I think he's fine. I'm not really worried about it too much. But when you're doing the same thing, when it's play action, Gainwell, is in the backfield. They're gonna rush you. They're gonna rush you 100% because they already know what's coming when Gainwell's in the backfield. They made it too obvious where once defenses know what you're doing, when certain players are on the field, they're gonna have the get up on you with the pass rush. And I think that's what happened. Nothing was creative with this offense. That there was no creative plays. It was just so generically generic, like they were on the practice field practicing these plays at the Novacare complex. That's what it looked like. So, like I said, a lot of good things to take out of it, but we have to take the good with the bad going forward. So, other than that, guys, what did you guys think of this game? Clearly and honestly, tell me in the comment section. What, who are the players of the game? Do you think this offense is going to change? Do you think this is, something that's going to last forever? Do you think this is just a week-to-week thing? And I hope you guys believe it's a week-to-week thing, and I respect everybody's opinion about it. I don't think, Brian Johnson's got to get fired. It's too early for that right now. Okay, I would wait up on it another week. Let's see what they do Thursday in our own house. You need to figure out ways to get guys the ball. And it was just too weird to not get A.J. Brown, to get Devontae Smith barely involved, really more involved. Dallas Goedert with one target, no catches at all. One carry for DeAndre Swift. You barely ran with Boston Scott a couple times, not even that much. It's just, Covey had one good return. I think they need to switch it up with somebody else. Maybe put Zacchaeus at punt return or something like that. I feel like they got to do different things here. I think more has to be involved with it. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens in another day or two. What happens with Nakobe Dean and that foot injury? He was apparently in a walking boot. So every time a guy gets hurt, it's without Nakobe Dean, now you're thin, and Christian Ellis took his spot in that game. So how comfortable I feel at linebacker right now is not fantastic, but I think some changes have to be made. I think Sidney Brown needs some playing time over Justin Evans. So we'll see what happens. But other than that, guys, let me know what you guys think about the game in general. Just speak out. Use your emotions. Say whatever you got to say. Trust me. I'll be reading all of it. You guys have a fantastic day. Enjoy yourselves, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Shakes, what up, Falls Live? Peace out, guys. Peace.